Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel. I hope you're feeling great today and welcome to this beginners backbend class. We are going to use our blocks, so do go ahead and get them, and if you've got a strap it's going to be useful as well, but we're going to use more the blocks. Also this time I have my mat placed next to the wall. Go ahead and do that because some of the stretches we're going to do will require the support of the wall. Now, backbends are really quite complex and some of the most difficult postures in yoga. So we do require flexibility in our flexibility and strength in the quads and in our core, and here opening the shoulders needs, so that for the chest to open we need the shoulders to open up and also the shoulders to be relaxed. So we're going to stretch all these areas. It's really advisable that you're warm, even if you just do 5 minutes of my warm-up fitness class. It's just going to prepare the body. It loosens up the muscles and we are going to stretch a bit easier. As I said, this is a beginner's class, but either way, even if you're just tense, it's good to go back sometimes to the basics and repeat them, and we'll be able to go further. Have fun and see you on the mat. Okay, beautiful people, let us get started. So we shall sit on our back, and as I already said, the shoulders area, which is quite often super tense for most of us, is the first thing that we're going to stretch today. So let's just, now that you're warm, bring back the heels to your butt, but just still leave a hand space between the heels and the butt. You can either have the legs parallel, or you can let them fall onto each other. Now place your hands onto your belly and let's just spend a few breaths inhaling deeply and exhaling as deep as the inhalation. Now we placed our hands onto the belly because I would like you to focus on how the belly shifts. In backbends we quite often tend to restrict because they're so difficult. We quite often tend to restrict our breathing, and that makes it even more difficult. So it's really counterproductive. So I'd really like you to feel the most relaxed version of yourself. Deep inhalation, deep exhalation. And feel how your hands move, how your belly move the hands up and down. Quite often in our daily life we tend to restrict the chest area, and this brings to shallow breathing, and backbends are wonderful because they're opening up the chest, our front body, and the breath can flow easily. That's why they're super rewarding, invigorating, and eventually relaxing, because when our bodies has enough oxygen, we tend to perform the best, to our best ability. Now from here, raise your hands and bring them underneath your head. Interlace your fingers and now your shoulders are back and down, curl up your tailbone and just stay here. Now that you're moving with the belly or breathing with the belly, you don't need the hands to be there. Relax the muscles of your face. Relax your shoulders. Drop them down. Now, shoulder mobility is quite... You keep breathing. I'm going to talk about shoulder mobility. Shoulder mobility is essential in backbends. So check out my class about the 3 stretches for shoulder mobility. It's really, really useful. So flexibility and mobility are not the same thing, although attached to the same hip, so to say. Breathe. With the next inhalation, cross your arms. So bring your hands to your shoulders, to the tip of your shoulders, and again relax your hand, relax your head onto the hands. It's not quite the hands, it's the crossed wrists that we lay our head upon. From here, raise your hand and just place the other arm on top of or underneath. And slowly release and come onto the right side and come up. Let's do a few cat-cow stretches. We want to warm up the spine. Shoulders on top of your wrists, hips on top of your knees, and we arch up with the exhalation. On the inhalation, chest up and chin up in your own rhythm. Exhale, round up. Inhale, chest up. A few more in your own rhythm. And release, come into neutral position and just do some side stretches. Now the spine is so important. In backbends, you cannot do enough. Make huge circles with your body. Change direction. And come to neutral position. Let's do hero pose. Now from here, so you sit onto the floor, your right heel is next to your right butt cheek. Take the flesh out in order to sit more comfortably. And now have the blocks nearby you if you need them. If you know that your quadriceps are quite tight, you can use the blocks to support yourself. Your left leg can be bent. And just stay here and breathe. See whether you need the blocks or not. And come onto your elbows. And maybe, I'm just going to show you, but this is absolutely not necessary. Make sure your knee stays onto the floor and maybe you can bring your upper body onto the mat. This is half hero pose. But then again, you push, if you want to come back out, you push with your elbows into the mat. But this one here is just enough for today. In fact, sometimes I do feel more here. And very slowly walk up yourself up. Now from here, tilt your body in order to protect your knee and bring the right foot to the front. Bend it, lean to the right side and bend the left knee. Take the flesh behind in order to have more space and bring the heel. So now both legs are parallel to each other. The right foot is next to the left knee. And we slowly either use the blocks again or just stay here. Just because I did it on the one side, I'll have to do it here as well, but you stay where you are. It's usually better to really equalize, bring into balance both sides and not do something different. Because we're only emphasizing the disequilibrium in the body. Now I push my elbows in order to come up and slowly tilt to the right in order to release the right knee and the left knee and the left leg. Now let's come into extended puppy pose. You can use the wall here just to make sure that the legs are 90 degrees and start walking your hands towards the top of the mat and slowly, so maybe you're here. That's just perfect. Just make sure you're not tilting your tailbone up. And maybe if it is available for you, if not, just use a block underneath your forehead. Otherwise, bring your forehead onto the mat. The puppy pose is a wonderful shoulder stretch. And then with the next inhalation, slowly come up and slide onto your belly. Now with back bends, we also need very strong back. So be very, very careful. So usually the back bend is always, think about the basic tenet or the basic principle in a back bend is to stretch out the spine and not compress the spine. Now, we're not jerking like that. We're lifting the spine up and elongating in order to give each vertebra, the space between the vertebrae should be elongated. That's how we elongate the spine. Okay, so we go into Sphinx position and see how, now make sure you see this, how I push my elbows back and push, I pull the elbows back and push my chest forward. Relax the shoulders. See that you're not collapsing here, okay? Push, push through and up. The legs are strong and engaged. Make sure the feet are parallel to each other and hip width apart. Make sure you're not tilting the neck too much back. The neck is a natural elongation of the spine. Now from here, come down and bring your hands underneath your shoulder. Now, as I said, we need, usually what I see is people doing this in Cobra, doing nothing with their back, absolutely nothing. They are performing the Cobra with their hands. We can support ourselves with the hands, but not entirely. So what I'd like you to do today is to have minimal support from the hands. Now, tuck your tailbone. The legs are strong and engaged. Kneecaps are lifting off the mat. And you lift up with your back, with the power of your legs, instead of pushing with your hands. And come down. One more time. Engage your legs, and if you'd like to check whether you're performing it correctly, take the palms off the mat. And if you come down, now let's check this again. We're lifting up. Now if I come down, that means I'm pushed with my hands. The Cobra is an amazing back strengthening exercise, so do try to do it as much as possible. Come down and relax. Now we're going to do mini cobras, mini waving cobras. Bring your hands, so your elbows are on top of your hands and form spider fingers. From here, we're lifting the spine up, we're rolling up like a wave. And the head is the last that comes up. And we're rolling down. Let's do 4 more. Inhale, up. And down. Imagine how you're elongating the spine. The chest is going up and down. 1 more. And just because it feels so yummy, let's do 1 more. And maybe you stretch out the arms and you come down. Release your arms next to your sides and rock the hips to the sides. Now from here, you can take your strap. So we're in Sphinx position. Shift your weight onto your left hand and bend your right knee. If you cannot bring the hand back, you can use the strap and just pull here. Now your elbows are as though you're in Sphinx, so that's exactly where their position is. And you push your arms down. If you feel like you can stretch more, you can pull the strap with your hands. Otherwise, bring your hand or hug your foot with your right hand and bring the sole of the feet down. Make sure you're not collapsing into the chest. Inhale and release. Let's repeat on the other side. Shift your weight onto the right hand. The right hand is 45 degrees to your body. And bring the hand back. Here again. Use your strap to push. Now from Sphinx, you walk your hands up and you might have to curl up your toes. And you push. Make sure there is absolutely no pain in the lower back here. Otherwise, just use your hand to bring the foot down. And with an inhalation, push the chest forward, up and forward. And release. From here, so this is our younger style shoulder opening. Walk, or rather, well, we are not walking, we're slithering to the wall. And from here, see from this Sphinx position, walk your hands onto the door. Now, you might already have quite a bit of a stretch here of the shoulders. You can try to bring the forehead down here. Now, you have to, you have to work yourself through your body, or the ability of your body to open up or to use the wall here. So this should be your first position. Now, if you can, of course, you can bring the body a bit closer to the wall, and only if there is no pinching in the lower back, you can raise your arms. And again. Now here, try not to open, because you're compressing the shoulders here. The shoulders make this inward movement, and release the chest onto the floor. Now from here, you're not going to be able to release the forehead onto the floor, and that's all right. Make sure you're not contracting. There should be absolutely no contraction in the shoulder area or in the shoulder blades. Again, let's walk a bit closer if you can. And maybe bring your chin to the door or to the wall. And with time, you'll be able to bring your hips closer and closer to the wall. And maybe your chest eventually. But make sure you're not contracting into the neck here. and back off if you have to. And let's just come out of the position and release, slide back into child's pose. Release your arms, release your head towards the floor. With the next inhalation, slowly come up and let's turn around. I'll show you another wonderful stretch for the shoulders. So your hips are on top of your knees, and from here, so we'll only do it with one arm at a time. Raise your arm, sink the arm back into its socket, and you perform a slight back bend here, ever so slightly with the back. We try to stretch the arm. Now, you might have to bend the arm, and that's all right. But the idea is that we would like to stretch the arm here. If you have low back problems, use a block between your hips, push the block or squeeze the block, push the thighs together, and this will engage your core and will protect your back. And really the idea here is to stretch out the arm as much as possible. And release. Let's do the other side. Raise your arm up, place it into the arm socket and stretch the arm back. Do not forget to squeeze the block and push the hip forwards. That's essentially the one of the most important movements in the camel pose. And release. And maybe if it is available for you today now, squeeze the block and push or raise your both arms up in the air and slowly walk them back towards the wall. Maybe you can place both hands onto the wall and push the wall away, trying to stretch out your arms. And release. The warmer you are, the easier it will be to open up the shoulders. Okay, now let's do one last exercise, the supported cobra, the supported camel pose. I see it so often in classes. People go into camel pose just because someone else next to them is doing it. Do yourself a massive favor and do not allow for your ego to tell you how exactly you should do the pose. Now curl your toes. The main idea here is that our hips should be pushing forward. We're elongating the spine, tuck your tailbone, you elongate the spine, and maybe you'll just stay here now. Actually, before we do the camel pose, excuse me, but I forgot a very, very important quads exercises. So maybe if you have tight quads, you're going to place a block or maybe a cushion next to the wall and take the two other blocks with a high height and bring your knee onto the block. If you need one, maybe you don't. Now we are not going to use one. Walk your shin, so your shin is onto the door. Now you might be here. If it is too difficult right now, you can walk, you can leave some space between the knee and the wall. I'm going to show you the full posture here. From here, the right or the left knee is in a 90-degree position, and you push the hips towards the right heel. You can either stay here or you can come here. You can also raise your arms. This is almost like the hero posture though, or the whole hero posture we did at the beginning of the class. This is more or less the same. Now from here we're going to walk the blocks, and you're bringing your hips down, stretching the quads. Or the quad. Push yourself up and down at the same time. Sink down. Your spine wants to go up, but your hips want to go down. And this is a beginner's class, but just maybe for some inspiration, this is one of the positions where you can support it when you have the mobility of your shoulders. You can actually reach out for that back foot. This is the safest way to do that, but we can do this at another time. Slowly walk out of the position. And let's repeat on the other side. Be careful with the body. You will have to use it till the rest of your life. Now bring the right leg into 90-degree position. Walk your knee towards the mat and come up. Maybe you're here, try not to round up the spine. Try to be as tall as possible, and maybe eventually come with the heels, or push the hips towards your heel. I'm going to adjust my right foot and walk it back. Maybe you can raise your arms, bring them in Namaste. Let's just use every position to stretch the shoulders. Bring the shoulders back and down. And breathe. From here, we're going to walk the right foot forward, and as we elongate the spine up, we push the hips down. This is where the blocks are super useful. Make sure the knee is on top of the ankle. And from here, just to show you again, and just because I did it on the other side to equalize my body, third door is obviously not ideal today for me here, but we can work towards reaching back for the foot. Slowly bring back, come back into neutral position. And now as a last pose, we're going to do the camel, the supported camel. So again, let's go over the basics. Your toes are cold. Your hips are on top of your knees. Your knees are hip distance or hip width apart. And if you think that especially if you have lower back problems, take a block and squeeze it between your legs or between your thighs. Now from here, place the 2 blocks next to your feet, and we're going to work ourselves first up. Now engage the glutes, tuck the tailbone in, and imagine you have a rod here, a fishing rod, which goes off to the ceiling. Try to push the chest up, and from here we are reaching out for the one block and then for the other. And now from here, again, thighs are strong, push the hips forward and open up your chest. Think about lifting up with the chest. We want to create as much space as possible between the vertebrae, all the vertebrae. And if you'd like, slowly release your head. Now from here you can release the hands onto your heels, but I do strongly encourage you to go into the supported camel for at least for a few yoga sessions, because it will give you the perfect foundation to go further down onto your heels. It will open up the chest. Otherwise, I see people doing this, and that's definitely not what we'd like to see. So you're creating so much compression here in the back. What we want to do is have a strong foundation with our legs, create as much space as possible with the spine into the chest area, have the flexibility of the shoulders. And only then, when our hips can remain on top of the knees, only then we go and reach out for the soles of our feet. And come back in child's pose. Now stay here for as long as you'd like. This is the perfect posture to release the space in the lower back. If you'd like to, you can also have your knees wider than your hips and let go here. Let the chest drop between the knees. With the next inhalation, come up, and let's just do one last counter posture for those back bends. We'll take it easy. Happy baby. Bend your knees, and we'd like to massage here the lower back. You can rock to the left, to the right. Bring your knees together and really make a super small package out of yourself. And release in Shavasana. Always give your spine the time to readjust after yoga, and your nervous system. Not only your body, but give yourself time to emotionally to calm down and come back to yourself. Just integrate whatever you've done. Let go of observing your breath. There's absolutely no need for you to do anything anymore. Stay in Shavasana for as long as you'd like to. And when you're ready, push yourself up and take a moment to sit cross-legged and say thank you to yourself for taking the time to practice. The best investment you can do is in yourself. Namaste. Thank you ever so much, everyone, for allowing me to take you through this class. I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, please do me a favor and hit the subscribe button and the like button. It will really help me to bring more content to this channel. And see you soon. Bye bye.